Hello, this is Denton Yoder, instructor for BSE 2304, the Biological Systems Engineering CAD class. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about profile views, talk a little bit about vertical scale, maybe get into some assemblies. And definitely, well, let's skip the assemblies. Let's get into busting up a sheet into multiple segments for our plan and profile view sets. Okay, jumping into it. To start with, I did the last lab for horizontal alignments myself. That way I would have a couple alignments. Looking at it, I found a nice little building pad location. So I did a road alignment coming up from an existing road. Nice curve in it. A tangent, spiral, spiral, curve, curve, spiral, spiral, tangent section. Another curve, another spiral, and then it brings us up to the top of the hill. Okay, the first thing we want to do is to create a profile view of that. To create a profile view, we're going to go to Profile, create a surface profile, which is going to let me read my road alignment following my existing ground, and I'll hit the Add button to pull in the ground values into my profile. And then I can jump straight into the Draw a Profile View. The Draw a Profile View has a major section we want to look at, which is the Profile View Style, Major Grids, and HGP. We'll want to look at that because we'll want to be able to change the settings for the major grid scale. Okay. This is profile view name. I'm using my parent alignment, which is alignment road, and I put an EG on the end of it instead of the default 1. If I'm descriptive with my profile view name, I really don't need a description. Next, it wants to know the range of stations along the bottom. And I'm saying go from the beginning to the end automatically. That's fine. I'll show you another way to break up the alignments or the profiles. Next, vertical. How tall? What's the minimum elevation, maximum elevation for our design? And should we just let it automatically do a spacing, or do we want to do a user specified and pick our own? Automatic works pretty good unless you need extra space above or below for some of your design work. Okay. We can also split the profile view into separate sections based on a station you want to divide it up. I'm going to teach a totally different way of breaking it up, so I'm not going to worry about that. Profile display options, data bands, what the hatching should look like, what the data should look like. Create profile. Okay, when you want to create profile, you want to do it on the right because it's going to grow to the right. Now this is going short because I have already edited my settings, profile view, style, the major grids in HGP. I already edited the graph vertical exaggeration. Your default is probably 10, and you have a great big tall graph. That would make sense if you were at Virginia Beach or down in Florida and you needed to see the vertical exaggeration. In Virginia, we're probably fine with a 4 or a 2. A 4 times vertical exaggeration would mean that if I'm 1 to 40 scale on the horizontal, I'm getting a 1 to 10 on the vertical. If you want it shorter yet, edit, drop it down to 2. So At a 2 scale, 1 inch is equal 100 feet horizontal would be the same as 1 inch equals 50 feet vertical. You've got a 2 to 1 vertical exaggeration, so you still see a little bit of vertical exaggeration, but it's not a great big huge tall thing. All right. We want to draw our own design grade on top of this. So I'm going to go to the profile view and go to the profile creation tools. And it says select your profile, which you can just grab your grid. And it says, what is the new profile name? Profile next number. Okay. I did a profile existing, which is my red line. I'm going to do a profile design road. Put a space at the beginning of that. Once again, using an appropriate profile name, I don't really need to use a description. So it says, oh, you're doing a design profile, okay. And it'll give me a toolbar, which is a lot like the horizontal alignment toolbar, except this is for profile or for vertical. So instead of a PI, we have PVIs, point of vertical intersection. And at the beginning here, we have draw tangents without curves, and we have add tangent, remove tangent, or add PVI, remove PVI, move a PVI, do lines, curves, blah, 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 and you get your table view down at the end. Now, I'm going to hit the first button, draw tangents without curves. I'm going to zoom in because I want to snap to the very end, and evidently I need to turn my snaps on. So I want the very end so that I'm lining up with the current grade of the road that's there. I'm going to draw down at a slight grade so that it drains away from the road instead of shooting water out on the road so the county doesn't get mad at me. And then I'm going to go up here, and then I'm going to flatten out and go over to there, up some more, and I could turn these snaps off if I wanted to calm down. Don't really need to snap everywhere. Now the question is, should I go down and back up, or do I want to flatten this off some? Or go clear over to here? I don't know. Flatten off a little and then turn my snaps back on, and I'm going to go directly to the end. Enter. What it should do when I hit my enter is terminate the command and label my grades. Should have a label here, but I don't see one. So it's saying, okay, down a 2%, up a 12%. That's a little better, more reasonable. You know, maybe I'll just remove that PVI. Delete that one. Okay. Enter. I can handle that. So it's going to a 4.2, then a 5 point something, then it's peaking, leveling off, then going up some more to the end. Okay, so I've got my PVI stations. The next thing I want to do is add some curves. So, length of curve. Free vertical curve parabola, I believe, is the one I usually like. Let me hit that once. Wants to know the grade coming into the PVI, the grade coming out of the PVI, and it says radius pass through excuse me, it says length or radius pass through, and K value. Length is the default, and it's set to 150 foot. I'm looking at the screen, seeing what exactly 100 foot looks like. I'm going to say, give me 200. Better yet, 250. Enter. One more enter, and it'll label it. So it put a big old curve across that. And now if I hadn't hit enter, I would be still in the curve command. That was free vertical curve parabola. Grade coming in, grade coming out. Length of curve, I'm going to put 200 here. And now, since I'm still in the command, I can do grade coming in, grade coming out. Another 200 here. One more enter. When I hit my enter, it actually labels them. And I need one more at the beginning here. Now I'm only coming in. I can measure this distance from here. Distance from here to here is 7.5 feet. Okay, let's do a little tiny curve. Vertical curve. Grade coming into the curve, grade coming out of the curve. Let's put in a 12-foot curve. Okay, so what I have is it's sloping down into 2% for just like 2 feet. Then it's putting a curve in, going up. And I've got the whole profile. You want to make sure you're snapped in at the beginning and snapped in at the end. Now, if I need to, let's say, finish up lower at the end, like I want to be 6 inches down or a foot down, I can go into my grid view and say, oh, that last PVI, let me see, station 1318 PVI, what if I don't want the 62? What if I want to be down a foot? I can just take it down a foot. 62.1, enter, and that will drop it down a foot. Close that. So I can go to a grid view and change my PVI heights, but that pretty much did it. Okay. The tools are almost identical to the horizontal tools, except for you're doing vertical. Now let me do another vertical. I'm going to close this one. And I'm going to say profile creation tools. And it says selects the profile to create it on. Oh, I didn't do that yet. Let me skip out of that. I need the existing ground first to have the grid view. So that was surface profile. Surface profile, I want to do my ditch design. Existing ground, add, draw the profile here. And I should have paid attention to what it was named, but I was bad, I didn't. Well, maybe I want to. I'll just erase it. Profile, surface, create surface profile. Switch it to ditch. Grab the EG, add it, draw, alignment, ditch, existing ground. Hey, it labeled it perfect. I wouldn't have had to delete it. Create profile, pick a spot, Done. Okay, so now I have the ditch profile. Okay. Um, profile creation tools. Pick the grid for the ditch profile. That way it knows I'm on the ditch alignment. And I'm going to do the design ditch profile. Okay. Create tangents. Snap in the first one. Turn off the snaps so I can go irregular. We want to go down to here, down to here, down to here, and snap it into the end. Enter. Now, ways I can edit it. Now, we've already seen the toolbar that lets me change things. We can also pull up the grid view and say, okay, I'm going to draw a ditch that's 2 feet deep. So really, I'm going to take the starting PVI elevation and take 2 feet off of it. And I'm going to take the ending PVI elevation and take 2 feet off of it. Try that again. Well, now, back up 3. Okay, if I can type smoothly. Another thing I can do is if I just want to manually edit, I can just grip at it, grab it, drag it down a little bit. Grip it, drag it down a little bit. Escape. Okay. So I can manually edit. I can edit in the window. Multiple options. That's creating a profile view. That's putting a design grade on it. That's using the profile creation tools. Another topic we should add in is dividing this project up. Now, let's say I have a D-size layout. That's fine for doing a site of the whole design. Let's say I want to make a new one. I can move or copy, move to the end, create a copy. Okay. Let's change the name of this, rename it, and call it Road Sheet 1 of 3. Okay. Now, my drawing area is roughly, if I do a distance, I have roughly 20 inches to work with. Oh, yeah, it's 24 by 36. I probably have 20 by 35 to work with. I could draw a rectangle. Let me just go to the road sheet, delete that M view. I could draw an M view rectangle, actually, M view, pick at 35, 10. move that rectangle. Maybe I need to make it a little bit smaller. Stretch. Actually, stretch command needs to be a crossing. Stretch. S. Okay, S, stretch. Stretch command needs to be a crossing box. And go straight. 0.5. Okay, so that's a 10 by 34 and a half. And it needs to be on the M view layer. Okay, back to model space. If I drew a rectangle 35 and a half, no, that was 33 and a half by 10, I got to go list that, make sure it was 33 and a half. Distance there to there, 34 and a half by 10. Okay. Stretch, an inch, distance, 34 and a half by 10. Okay. If I draw a box 34 and a half by 10, that will fit on my M view sheet, 34 and a half by 10. If I scale that up, scale my 34 by 10 box 10 times, that is how big a 10 scale M view of a 34 and a half by 10 window is going to be. If I move that over my profile of my road, it is not nearly big enough. Let me scale it 2 times bigger. Okay, this is now a 34 and a half at 20 scale. And let me see if I can get my window to pop down lower here for, okay, for my curve. This curve is way out there. I wonder if it'll let me label it off the side. No, it doesn't like that idea at all. So I could get about that much of my road. And if I were to copy that, and copy it again, well, okay. So in the second window, I can get more of my profile, and in the third window, I can get the last part of my profile. There's a place where the two profiles overlap, and I'm going to call that a match line layer. New layer. match line. And I'm going to use a different line type, maybe a center line for a match line layer. Let's make that the current drawing layer. And draw a line. Turn snaps off. Draw a vertical line right here. And another one right here. LT scale. How about 10? Maybe 20. Yeah, 20 looks good. Okay. So what I'm saying is how much of a box can be displayed at that scale. I can also copy that box over the plan area of my drawing. I want one here, I want one there, and I want one here. And I'm going to rotate the one in the middle to be a different angle like that. And I'm going to draw a match line in the middle of these two. And a match line could be anywhere here. They overlap pretty well. I don't think I really even need a match line here. Okay. Now in my profile views, I can make 3 sheets that each have a portion of the road and the profile that goes with it. So in my road sheet 1 of 3, I can do a zoom in on this bottom section. I need to flip it around though, so I'm going to UCS object and pick the top right of this box. Oh, I'm not in model. Double click model and zoom in. UCS object, click the top right of this box, tell it that that is plan view. It should have flipped clear upside down. And I can zoom, snapping to corner of the box and a corner of the box. Okay, regen. And I have the beginning of the, or the end of the road actually. I want the beginning of the road. Let me go back to UCS World Plan. The end of the road. Beginning of the road's right there. Okay. Zoom 1/20 XP. Pan that down till it fits my box. Regen. So I have the beginning of the roadway up to through the match line. I need another M view. Let me just copy this M view down. Hit F8, I can go straight. Bottom section, gonna zoom out, zoom into the beginning, zoom into this, zoom 1/20 XP, pan it down to fit. I can actually pan down further because I have space. And I've got a section of the profile view to 20 scale. I need a north arrow in the top section, and I need this to say 20 scale. DDATTE 20, 20, 40, 60, 20 foot tick. Okay. Go back to the model. I need to insert a north arrow. And I'm going to use 20 scale. And I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to do it again. And put it right 20 scale. Right there. Do it again. 20 scale. Okay. I actually could have put one right there, and it would have gotten both end views. That'd be cute, wouldn't it? Let's do it. Erase that one. Move this one. Put it down there. Okay. Let's look where we're at. We're on sheet 1. We've got a section of the profile. We've got a section of the plan view. We're ready to create sheet 2. We can right click, move or copy, move to the end, create a copy, rename this sheet 2 of 3. Double click inside this, pan it down. Double click inside this. I need to set the UCS object that plan regen zoom 1 to 20 XP, pan it into place, double click out, lock my end views, display locked yes, go back to the first. Whoops, I'm on the first one. I just turned the first one into the second one. Okay. Rename temp. Take sheet 2, rename 1 of 3. We'll slide it over. Or can I move it? Move or copy selected layout. Layout before layout that. Okay. Okay, so road sheet 1 of 3. Display locked, yes. Rename this one. Road sheet 2 of 3. Make a copy. That should be right. Okay. Move or copy. Move to the end. Make a copy. Rename road sheet 3 of 3. Highlight it to make it current. Unlock the M views. Get the profile view, slide it over. Get the plan view. I'm going to want to be on this one. Yeah. UCS, object, grab the bottom left of the third one, make that plan view, zoom in. I didn't do it right. UCS, object, object, plan, region, zoom 1/20 XP. Got the end of my profile, got the end of my alignment, got my match line, got my north arrow, lock my end views, display locked, yes. Technically, I don't need those red lines anymore. If you want to keep them, you probably ought to make them a no plot layer. You could put them on the M view layer if you wanted to. M view. So let's see if the preview looks right. Plot, preview. I've got my profile information. My match line didn't show up at a decent scale, but I can fix that. It's I probably need to turn on PSLT scale or turn it off. REA. Okay, match lines are working right. Save the drawing. I've done layouts. Excuse me. I've done profile views. I've done design grades. And I've broken up the sheets. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.